Surf's up, it's Mauisnake once again with a video powered by Pinnacle. Today, as you may have seen in the thumbnail, the title, I'm going to be telling you why to bet on the underdogs, why all of these teams have a chance to ruin the major for everybody that just wants the favorites to go through. Yes, I'm going to sell you on Mongolz. Yes, I'm going to sell you on Monte. I'm going to tell you, because I watched all of these teams, how they could do the unthinkable and make the Blast Paris major the worst major of all time. Starting with the biggest underdog of the opening round matchups, we have the Mongolz versus G2. And what I saw when I watched the Mongolz at IEM Rio was a team that was able to find 8 T-side rounds against Na'Vi. And that is with starting 0-5 down in the hole. They came back to win 8 of the last 10 rounds in the first half on the offense against Na'Vi. And so what Mongolz did in this game against Na'Vi is they started grouping up. They realized that their default wasn't going to work against a team like Na'Vi, but if they 5-man or if they just exec into bomb sites, they actually had a chance. And once they started recognizing that they were able to get into bomb sites, they started throwing curveballs at Na'Vi. They started actually using lurkers a little bit more after they recognized and they conditioned Na'Vi to actually play heavier onto the bomb sites, and those lurkers, those flanks started finding so much value. And if Mongolz recognize that they are able to use their opening plays, basically the ones out of spawn, to open up that T side versus G2, they could actually accumulate a string of rounds to find a good offense versus G2. And on top of that, Mongolz have a decent map pool versus a team like G2. They like playing Inferno. They're actually okay at Mirage from what I've seen. And let's not forget that this team 2-0'd Cloud9 back at Katowice to ruin Cloud9's run there. So this is a team that people have to worry about, especially G2. Monte, 2.91 odds to take down FaZe. And I'm going to tell you that Monte have one of those online trajectories that gives them a chance to take down a titan such as FaZe. They have played the most maps this year, and SDY, despite just joining 3 months ago with this team, has played over 150 maps with Monte at this point. And so they definitely have a chance just based off of sheer experience as a team. And on top of that, they have one of the most mechanically talented entry riflers in the entire tournament. This is not hyperbole. I'm not just trying to sell you this guy. It's Boros. I mean, this guy, his play will do the talking. He had over a 30% attempt rate at the RMR that Monte played in, and he was winning nearly 60% of his duels. This guy is a monster, and the firepower will be there for Monte. Look at those odds. Fours 1.346, Grayhound 3.05. If you bet on Grayhound, you can win 3 times your money, and I'm going to tell you how. They call it not Inferno in Australia, but Insferno. The IGL for Grayhound is so good at calling on Inferno that they don't call it that down under. They call it Inferno. And so if it goes to Inferno, which fours will be willing to play, Grayhound could take this one. On top of that, Grayhound actually look like a team that can compete against European opposition with the fight that they put up at Melbourne. When they were at Melbourne, able to take down Complexity and almost take down BNE, they were up 15-9 against BNE, and then they called for a hard rush on Ancient, and then they lost all of their momentum, they lost all of their willpower, their mental. It was shot, but they were there. They were in a position to win, and I'm going to say this, BNE, probably a better team than Forza. That's why BNE are in the legend stage, and so Grayhound, definitely a chance here, especially if it's on Inferno. Domestic matchup right there. How are you not going to jump at that? 2.75 for Fluxo. Brazilian team up against Pain. Yes, Pain have been doing slightly better in international events lately, but Fluxo, they know Pain better than anybody. Obviously, these teams are both Brazilian, and Fluxo, they play such a crazy style that to me, Fluxo is almost the underdog bet for a lot of this tournament because they are just going to run at their opponents. They like to end every round within 40 seconds. I think this team is allergic to mid-rounding because they don't even want to get to the mid-round. They want the round to be over by that time. As of the time that I'm recording this, Apeks have 96 maps played in the last 3 months, and so for them to be at 2.3 odds against Liquid, you know that they're going to have a chance because they're playing constantly against European opposition. They are battle hardened by their recent experiences, and they're a team that, with their proactive CT style, can actually get Liquid out of their comfort zone. When I watched the Apeks vlog of how they qualified to the major, it was apparent that this team has a good supporting staff behind them that can help anti-strat in an opening BO1 matchup versus a team like Liquid, who is very set in their style. They are going to send Yakindar out first, Alicia's going to be that second man in, and then OC's going to be throwing support flashes, and Naf's going to be doing his little lurky lurk on the other side of the map. You know what's coming when you're playing against a team like Liquid. Nitro, in that video at ESL Katowice earlier on this year, everyone was rating him as a very easy IGL to play against. And so Apeks, with all that supporting staff that they're working with, they're going to be able to figure out the tendencies of Liquid, and they're going to be able to anti-strat against them, which also makes this underdog upset completely possible. All right, these odds are starting to get real close. 2.13 for Complexity, 1.671 for Gamer Legion. This is a game that Complexity can just win off of their own merit. Nothing even crazy has to happen in this game. Complexity have a great map pool for this exact matchup. They, in my opinion, have a winning chance on Overpass and Nuke. That's two maps where I think that they should actually just straight up win. But if it goes to Inferno, which Gamer Legion may force us to, I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for Complexity. That being said, it's hard for me to look at the riflers on Gamer Legion and say any of them are better than Grim. So the best player in the server could very easily be on the North American side. NIP 2.0 odds, Maus 1.757. This is a game where I almost don't even feel like they even should be the underdogs. NIP have been trending upwards for some time now, where Maus just bombed out of Rio completely, losing to Big, losing to 9. I thought on this last video, the last video I did for I Am Rio, that Maus was going to clean up Big on their opener at that event, and they weren't even able to do that. And then losing to 9, actually kind of a commendable loss, because 9, I think, are actually quite a good team. I have 9 going to the playoffs here of the entire major through the legend stage. So, but NIP, to me, it just feels like they're getting better and better. Every time I watch NIP, they are seriously working on so many of their flaws. The communication between them at the ESL Pro League earlier this year, and then even just the RMR, drastically different. Like, the team smoothed out so many of their issues on the communication side, and I have no doubt that DJL and Alexi B are doing everything it takes to make sure that this is a team that's going to be going deeper into this tournament than we would have expected, given how poor they looked when they first assembled this roster. OG, ENCE, these teams are almost dead even. I'll still sell you on OG here. Another team that seems to be trending upwards. When Nico first joined this team as the IGL, it did feel like they were calling a lot out of spawn, but they have diversified their playbook, and they're adding so much more every single time I see them play, just like NIP. And so for ENCE, they're a team that's probably settled in just a little bit more. They know what their win conditions are. They know the style that they want to play, whereas OG are constantly evolving. And I think that every time a team is just trending upwards, it's very hard to anti-strat them because you don't know how much more they're going to add to their playbook. For the teams that are the favorites in all of these matchups, they have concretely outlined the style that they want to play, and so the likelihood that they will be innovating match to match or tournament to tournament is much less likely, because they think that if they just kind of rest on their laurels, they're going to be able to deliver at a high level regardless. And the anti-stratting component to them is something that they're probably taking for granted, as they just believe that their style is so airtight that it's going to get them somewhere. And so OG, my opinion, they're trending up. They're going to be bringing more to the table, whereas ENCE probably a little bit just too comfy. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Check out the link below to visit Pinnacle's website, just to even sometimes see the odds. Even if you're not going to place a bet, sometimes you just want to see who are the favorites, or at least what the betting site thinks are the favorites, and then you can reassess your own predictions, and maybe it could actually even influence your pick'ems if you're not going to actually bet on Pinnacle. So check them out, and as always, being toxic is a choice.